Hi, Scorpio. It's Denise with Divine Soul Astrology. Today I'm here to discuss your full moon, which is happening on May 1st, and it's going to be at 10:23 a.m. here on the West Coast in the United States and 5:23 Universal Time. So please check for your time around the world, okay? Now, the full moon in Scorpio, wow, what a transformative time. And it's in your first house, Scorpio. So I'm sure that something is transforming for you. Maybe you're seeing beneath the veil, right? I mean, maybe your psychic ability, you can talk about your psychic ability is so maybe strong at this time. But we'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. And let's talk about the full moon kind of itself. It's also called the flower moon, and I can only guess that it is called that because of springtime here in the Western Hemisphere. All right. Very beautiful. And it's going to be deeply transformative for everybody. I would say even more so for you, because Scorpio, your sign is concerned with depth and intensity. Yeah. And the full moon will illuminate what lies the Scorpio full moon, but the full moon will illuminate what lies beneath. Like it can show things that have been hidden, right? The moon can always show things like that anyway, but especially in your sign, the moon can be about like what is hidden as well, because of the lack of kind of light, but in another way it can illuminate, the moon. So the full moon can illuminate what lies beneath and emotional honesty, promoting emotional honesty. That's what Scorpio is about, really. It can be for sure. And it's going to help us release old wounds to embrace regeneration and transformation, encouraging us to balance material comfort, which is where the sun is. So here's the balance. The opposition is the balance that is wanting that the universe really wants for us. Yeah. And we have astrology to show that, right? And so encouraging us to balance material comfort, which is Taurus, with emotional depth and comfort with vulnerability and stability with surrender. So Taurus, where the sun sits, right, is concerned with financial, material gain, finances, and also self-worth and self-care and well-being. That's what Taurus wants stability. That's why Taurus doesn't want things to change. So with this transformation, you do, right? I mean, as an archetype, Scorpio wants things to transform and regenerate. So, this opposition is kind of pointing over to Taurus, and we were talking about that just a minute. I was saying that, there's a need to balance stability with surrender, and surrender is the transformation, and of course, stability is the Cancer. I mean, not Cancer, Taurus. So there we go on that. So Scorpio, it's in your first house, in your house of self, right? In your sign. And natal Mars, that is your ruler, right? Which also rules Aries. Natal Mars is in Aries itself. So this is very powerful about something new and something ending and transforming, right? So we have Mars. Um, Yes, the full moon is calling for, for profound change here. And Mars wants something new, as I said. It's also in a conjunction with Saturn. So Saturn wants things to be solid. It wants things to last a long time. It wants us to, be mature and step into our own authority over our lives, right? And it can bring us restrictions. It can. If we're not being mature or we are not kind of, doing the hard work and discipline, things like that. So, that is, that is going on right here with that, um, that conjunction, right? But also, Neptune, Saturn. It's possible Saturn is also trying to restrict you in some way. That will depend on how you are responding to your life in general. That's really what astrology is about, possibilities. And Neptune wants you to believe in your dreams here. And these are all in your sixth house here. Let's move it back to Scorpio. It wants to change because of the time. And next time I'll save it. Yeah, that way, it doesn't change, right? Yeah. So let's put you back on the ascendant so we can see what's going on. Here you are. Mars is in your sixth house of work, health. This can be service, but right, in how you maybe help other people. The sixth house is also the house of health and wellness, and our daily practical responsibilities or our daily matters. So it's the house that really we need to kind of tend to, right? And the health can be related to how we take care of ourselves as well, right? But Mars is there in that house, so there could be something new that you want here that is about those six house themes, of course. Now, Neptune is here wanting you. Neptune is another water sign, or it is ruled. Neptune rules Pisces. It is the more traditional, or not traditional. It is the modern, right? But Neptune is spirituality here. And it's possible here that this spirituality, and you guys can be pretty spiritual, you can, but that can support whatever you are trying to do with maybe long-term goals or what you are trying to possibly achieve here, with, Mars, the transformative. Mars is the transforming force because it rules the full moon and rules your sign here. So, there could be, believe in your dreams here, Scorpio, and don't fall into any. I was saying there's like a challenge here, right? Because, a little bit, because don't fall into the worry here. Believe in your dreams, but Neptune can sometimes blur the lines and make us uncertain, so it can cause confusion and sometimes doubts, right? Don't buy into that here. And also, let's see what else I have for you. Mars, your natal Mars is, and this Saturn could be possibly bringing you some type of lesson. It can be that maybe, you need to like believe in your dreams, right? And that lesson can also be for some, it can be, don't fall into fears and doubts, because Scorpio, the eighth house that you rule, can be about fears, doubts and fears as well. That is one of the indications, right, or meanings. And we have, your ruling planet Mars is making a square to Jupiter in your ninth house of purpose right here. So, uh I talk about this, I think, in the Uranus reading. I think I do, but which is creating change itself for us, right? I feel like Scorpio, the full moon, is like the precipice of that, but that's going to be for the next 7 years, because Uranus will move into Gemini, creating a whole new, bringing liberation, innovation, and surprise endings and things like that. So, because Uranus wants us to be independent and just, and kind of go for it and be that inventor in our own life, right? Um, and so, with Uranus, though, is moving into Gemini right during the lunation, of the Scorpio full moon. So this, for me, is the precipice of this change happening over here with Uranus, which is right here, right? And Uranus is in your eighth house of transformation. Wow. So yeah, so we have the square here. A square is always something challenging, really challenging us to take action or to do something or to make an adjustment or do something. But remember, Mars is about new beginnings, right? I don't know if you're aware, but it does, especially here in Aries, even in your sign. Yes, it does. It has that indication, one of them, right? But Mars always wants something new, and it's courage and it's drive and it's acting on desires. And here it is squaring Jupiter. So with that square, Scorpio, to your ninth house of purpose, Jupiter rules the ninth house in the natural chart. So there's something that you want, like you want to grow or expand, or you want to step into your purpose. Maybe it's related to your higher purpose, and maybe that has to do with your feelings or your emotional needs, or family, or being a mother, possibly because it's in Cancer, right? Now, Mars is in that sixth house of work, health, and daily practical matters here. This is challenging you to grow, maybe within a job, um, maybe one that is more of purpose, right, with Jupiter there, or challenging you, with the other sixth house themes I was speaking about. All right. But the stellium here is in your sixth house, supporting those work health and, daily practical matters or routines or even habits. Yeah, the sixth house is, when we talk about routines, we talk about habits, right? So maybe there's some habit that you are trying to move away from. And let's put it back on you, Scorpio. It has moved. It does. It's saying I'm talking too long. No, it's not. But yeah, here is the stellium here supporting that, right? Now, Mercury, let's talk a little bit about Mercury because Mercury is always important. It is. Mercury is ruling your 11th house of future aspirations. You see, this is what you're trying to do here. There's something related to the future. This is also the house of friends and social groups and kind of like-minded people, and hopes and wishes and gains. Yeah, and so here, but let's see here. It is ruling that house where the south node is, where you've been leaving something behind, or yeah. And let's see what Mercury's doing though here. Is it doing anything? I know it is. It just doesn't really kind of want to show up here. Okay, that's strange to me, but yeah, because Mercury, and let's look back at Mars here. Okay, so but Mercury is ruling. Mercury is conjoined with your Mars, right? So Mercury is over there telling you something about your work, about these six house themes, your practical, maybe even your lifestyle, your health, whatever. But Mercury is telling Mars, well, yeah, and just think about it a little bit and go do it. So, and remember, Mars rules the full moon of transformation, right? That's your full moon. But here's Mars squaring Jupiter. Yes, it is here. And so that Mars to Jupiter is um, telling you to see the big picture here in your house of purpose. Yeah, I think I talked about that. I did, huh? Now we have Mars trining. This is my eighth video. Yeah, you're the eighth sign. So Mars is trining. Time for a little break here. But Mars is trining Black Moon Lilith. This is associated with your sign. So Black Moon Lilith is the shadow, but everybody has to face their shadow and confront it. It's kind of like a bully, right? It can be, right? If we don't confront it, then we feel kind of overpowered by that. So, and this can be about maybe the lifestyles you choose or something like that here because Mars sits in the sixth, those six house themes. But here is Lilith in your second house of self-worth. This is making it easier for you to confront something about yourself and overcome. But it has to do with you stepping into your power. Mars is power, right? Mars is the will to act and courage. So it's associated with power. And here is Black Moon Lilith in your house of self-worth. Now, this can be also your second house is also related to your finances, which is part of the full moon because remember, the sun is in Taurus, and that is part of the full moon opposition here. All right. Now, um, yeah. And so we talked about Mercury over here. I think we talked about Venus here, squaring here, if not now. So the sun is trining this Uranus in your, trining the 11th, the South Node in your house of future aspirations. This is making it easier for you to step into anything that you want really for your future or gains or your hopes and wishes, making it easier. Um, but also we have Venus. Let's look at Venus for just a moment here. We didn't talk about Venus. No, Venus is supporting Uranus here in your ninth house of purpose, where there is change or growth and expansion, where there will be the theme will be that way a little bit for the next 7 years, not a little bit, right? Um, and so with I have a video on this too about Uranus entering Gemini, but this is ruled by Mercury. So we have Mercury here in your sixth house, and but we have Mercury is ruling your eighth house of transformation, and your 11th house of future aspirations. It's challenging you to step into something new for the future. It really is. That's highly interesting there for me. Um, And Venus, let's look at Venus. Did I talk about Venus? No, I didn't. But Venus is challenging you to do it. Venus can be as well. It's not just, yeah, there's Venus and the trine. Yeah, that is not a Uranus trine. It is a Venus trine, but um, Venus is ruling your 12th house of endings. And Venus can talk about your money as it's in your eighth house of, shared wealth or joint finances. This is a house of money as well, Scorpio. And this whole full moon has to do with finances in some way, because the second you rule, you yourself is about shared wealth and things like that, joint finances. And over here, in Taurus, that is also about finance. So there's something that has to do, likely, for with money, to some degree. It can be your perspective on it. The sun is trining that South, Venus is, I beg your pardon. Let's see what Venus is doing here. Yeah, Venus is doing that. And this is also maybe letting you also look at your finances or your financial life in a more important way, right? Maybe you want something that is more connected to your purpose, because we have your ruling planet squaring, Jupiter in the ninth. So that is like, we talked about that, but that is pushing you for change and growth and expansion. That's what it's doing there. Um, yeah, and Venus is ruling right here, that seventh house of relationships and shared wealth. So, yeah, there's a lot going on here. There definitely is. And I'm going to let this end this reading. Thank you so much, Scorpio, for joining me here today. If you've enjoyed my content, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the little bell so you can be notified of my next upload. And if you'd like a reading with me, I'm approaching the natal chart. You can get a natal reading in this such a powerful way. I have a great teacher. Yeah, I do. And I've never, approached the chart that way before. Very empowering, very helpful, and very unique and personal. It's just very eye-opening, showing you so much more. Yeah, so thanks so much for joining me here, Scorpio, and I hope you enjoy the full moon in your sign. Yeah, thanks so much.